The sun rose over New Horizon just like it had every morning for the last 30 years. It was a quiet, peaceful start to the day on this distant world. The colony was humanity's furthest reach, a small bubble of life floating in the vast dark ocean of space. People were waking up, getting their children ready for school, and heading to work in the hydroponic farms that grew their food. No one was thinking about war. No one was checking the sky for enemies. They believed the distance from Earth was enough to keep them safe. They thought the silence of space was a shield that no one could break. But they were wrong. The end did not come with a warning. There was no radio message, no demand for surrender, and no strange lights hovering politely above the city. One moment, the sky was a clear, pale blue. The next second, the air itself seemed to tear open. Huge ships dropped out of nowhere. They were not made of metal like human ships. They looked like jagged pieces of night sky, black and smooth, absorbing the light around them. They moved silently, which was somehow more terrifying than if they had been screaming engines. Before anyone could even run for cover, the attack began. Beams of green and purple energy slashed down from the heavens. They did not just hit buildings. They melted through them. The command center, the hospital, the schools, all of it turned into dust and fire in seconds. The ground shook so hard that people were thrown off their feet. Screams filled the air, mixed with the roar of collapsing structures. Smoke billowed up, turning the beautiful blue sky into a thick, choking gray blanket. Fire spread quickly across the colony, jumping from one sector to another as if it were a live dot in the middle of this chaos. The colony's defense leader ran toward the main control room. His heart was pounding against his ribs. He knew their shields were weak, built only to stop space rocks, not weapons of war. When he reached the console, his hands shook as he typed in the codes. The screens flashed red. The shields flickered once, twice, and then vanished completely under the heavy assault. He looked out the window and saw his home burning. He knew he could not save the colony. The enemy was too strong, too fast, and too cruel. They were not here to conquer. They were here to erase. With the sound of explosions rattling the walls, he managed to activate the long-range transmitter. It was a desperate move. The signal would take weeks to reach Earth, but it was the only hope left. He spoke into the microphone, his voice cracking with emotion. He told Earth what was happening. He described the black ships and the merciless fire. His final words were simple and heavy with sadness. They are here. Please, save the others. Just as the message sent, the roof of the control room gave way. A beam of energy struck the building, and everything went dark. Within an hour, New Horizon was gone. The vibrant community was now just a field of burning rubble. The alien ships hovered for a moment longer, scanning the debris to make sure nothing moved. And then they vanished into the deep dark of space, leaving behind only ashes and silence. Weeks passed before the distress signal finally reached the Sol system. When the message played in the United Earth Government Hall, the room went deathly quiet. Leaders who had argued over budgets and trade routes suddenly stopped speaking. The loss of New Horizon was not just a statistic. It was thousands of lives wiped out in minutes. Friends, families, pioneers all gone. The shock quickly turned into anger, and then into a cold, hard resolve. Humanity realized that hiding was no longer an option. If they wanted to survive, they had to fight back. The order was given immediately. The Terran Armada, a fleet that had been built in secret over the last decade, was activated. These were not exploration ships or cargo haulers. These were warships, painted in steel gray, bristling with cannons and missile pods. They were the biggest, most powerful machines humans had ever built. The best commander in the fleet was chosen to lead them. She was a woman who had seen conflict before and knew the cost of hesitation. She stood on the bridge of the flagship, looking at the crew. Their faces were serious. They knew what they were going to do. They were not going to negotiate. They were going to find the monsters who burned New Horizon and make them pay. The fleet jumped into faster-than-light travel. For days, they rushed through the void of space, pushing their engines to the limit. Inside the ships, the mood was tense. Soldiers checked their gear over and over. Pilots ran simulations in their heads. Everyone thought about the people who had died on New Horizon. They thought about the families who would never see their loved ones again. This thought fueled them. It made them determined. They were not just fighting for territory. They were fighting for justice. When the Terran Armada finally arrived at the Kepler system, the sight broke their hearts. New Horizon was a graveyard. The planet was scarred with huge craters. Fires still smoldered in the ruins of the cities. The atmosphere was thick with smoke. Sensors scanned the area, picking up the faint energy trails left by the alien ships. The computer traced the path the enemy had taken. They had not gone far. They were hiding in a nearby cloud of gas and dust, likely reloading their weapons or preparing to attack the next. Human settlement thought the commander ordered the fleet to move forward. They approached the gas cloud quietly, engines running low to avoid detection. As they got closer, the sensors lit up. There they were. The black alien ships were clustered together, looking arrogant and safe. They had no idea that humans could track them this fast. They thought they had all the time in the world. That was their mistake. The commander gave the order to attack. Suddenly, the silence of space was shattered. The Terran Armada unleashed everything they had. Missiles streaked through the darkness like comets. Railguns fired solid metal slugs at incredible speeds. The alien ships scrambled to react, but they were caught off guard. The human fleet moved as one unit, a wall of steel and fire. Beams of light crisscrossed the void as the two forces clashed. The battle was fierce. Alien ships darted around, trying to pick off the human vessels one by one. But the humans held their formation. They focused their fire on the largest enemy ship first. When the first alien vessel exploded, it created a massive fireball. Because they were fighting inside a gas cloud, the explosion ignited the surrounding fuel in the air. A chain reaction started. Flames erupted across the stars, lighting up the entire nebula in brilliant oranges and reds. It looked like the sky itself was burning. One by one, the black ships were torn apart. The aliens tried to run, but the human fleet blocked their escape routes. There was no mercy this time. The humans remembered the burning cities of New Horizon. They remembered the innocent lives lost. Every shot they fired was for those who could not speak anymore. Within a short time, the alien fleet was destroyed. Not a single enemy ship remained intact. The flames slowly died down, leaving behind a field of drifting wreckage. The Terran Armada floated in the silence that followed. The victory was complete, but there was no cheering on the bridges. The crew members looked at the screens with heavy hearts. They had won, but it could not bring anyone back. The commander ordered a memorial buoy to be launched. It drifted down toward the ruined planet, broadcasting the names of everyone who had died on New Horizon. It was a promise that they would not be forgotten. As the fleet turned to head back home, the engines glowed bright against the dark background of space. They had shown the galaxy that humanity was not weak. They had shown that if you hurt humans, you would face the full force of the Terran Armada. The flames across the stars had cooled, but the message remained clear. Humanity was awake, and they were ready to protect their own, no matter the cost. The journey home was long, but they carried with them the knowledge that they had done what was necessary. The universe was a dangerous place, but from now on, humans would not walk through it alone. They would walk through it together, armed and ready.